If you had a job where you come to work and people clap for you, it would change your entire mood.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Or you can grow a conscience in the next 5 minutes and see where that takes you.
Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop?
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listing.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party. Gangnam Style. Open Gangnam Style.
There can be only one magical Negro.
Que llama, que buena baila usted a la vuelta, papi, otra vez llegó los negros de...
It won't take long when there's a song to help you set the pace.
Howling hard from the heart.
This is pathetic.
Where we used to live.
Life could be worse.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Ai, menina, mina, chega aí. Ai, menina, mina, chega aí. Vai, quebra, tem mais, vai. Menina, chega aí. Vai, olha, danado. Eita!
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down.
I'm bag of pixie dust. Contraband.
They're going to do the Mary Poppins thing. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Magic mirror on the wall. The fairest one of all.
Oh, bitch, you killed Kenny.
Kenny.
You fat hoe.
I get it. I'm not persecuted. I'm just an ass.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm Reina Creole, of course, always bring you that spice when it comes to pop culture analysis and keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. But most of all, I love pop culture. So welcome to the Spice Lounge, where we have that spicy conversation and hot takes when it comes to what's going on out there in pop culture. And of course, we keep it all unfiltered. I bring all my friends here. You know, they drop in at your house and you just kind of chew the fat about what's going on. So not only my panelists, but you guys out there in the chat, you are my unofficial co-hosts. Packed show for you today. We're definitely talking about how to Train Your Dragon remake is just smoking the box office this weekend. Looks like Kathleen Kennedy is trying to get Bob Iger a honorary Oscar, whatever the frick that means. And of course, James Gunn, Snyder fans, and all that tea, with some other, lovely, fun things to keep things lively and keep things fun. And most importantly, special guest on my show, Jason Hunt from SciFi4Me.tv. We're going to bring him on in a little bit. And yes, my other co-host here, you all know him as Professor X. And I have to give him catnip so he can calm the heck down on the show. But this is literally officially his place to sit, since he's pretty jealous of the gaming rig in the back. So he either curls up around the gaming rig, or he likes to look at the little lights spin around and stuff like that. So he is absolutely something else. So folks, let me bring on my first co-host. Of course, we have Erica from Hanging with Erica and Roth. How are you, my darling?
Good. I am not wearing makeup tonight. It is 1:46 a.m., so I figured not tonight.
Girl, I woke up this morning. I'm like, why the heck did I schedule a live stream at 10? And I thought maybe it would be an hour. No, I got lucky with the gotcha pull, so it turned out to be a 4-hour stream. And I don't know how people do this all day. So if you were watching my 4-hour Love and Deep Space stream this morning for Raphael's Myth, I had managed to pick the card. Had to keep going with that. So yeah, I actually do have a face. Just it was too early in the morning, and I didn't. Well, for me, no, there's too much involved with getting the space together. So I just went like, just see my avatar. But yes, real person here behind that avatar. So speaking of real people behind the avatar, although he is actually behind a blue wrench, just like Erica, we have Tom. How you doing?
Hey, look, I'm behind it. It's hitting me.
Blue wrench and an awesome hat. I love that hat, man.
I want a blue wrench now, like a real one.
I can instruct you on how to make it, but then I'll have to like give up trade secrets.
You can make one that's 25% different, right?
Yeah, you got to do it, but you got to use pink tape.
Ooh, I like
Hey,
that.
I'm all for pink.
You got to have a pink wrench.
Some pink.
That would be cool if that was
YouTube, you need to change your colors here. Go to pink.
Well, one of my other panelists, he's not feeling too well today. I'm so sorry to hear that. Ron from Follow the Bradley's Fun says, howdy, I'm here in the chat. Bit of a stomach ache tonight, so I'm staying on this side. Rest up. You're good. You're good. You're good. Glad to have you. Glad to have you here. Well, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my special guest. I'm going to get back in the habit of bringing in folks out there in the ether that I run into. And this particular guest, I know we've talked off and on X. We follow each other on X. But for some reason, when I saw him in the chat, when I was on Paulie's channel not too long ago, I'm like, yeah, I do need to bring this person on the channel because I love meeting new people, love introducing to my audience new folks out there who have awesome channels. Of course, that would be Jason Hunt of SciFi4Me.
Hello.
Come, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't have a blue wrench. I'm not wearing makeup either. So I guess
that's okay.
I'm not wearing makeup either, Jason.
You have cool books in the back. That's what counts.
I have all sorts of here. Let me I think maybe I can do this. Well, you can't really see, but I've got a bunch of books, bookshelves behind me. The whole studio is bookshelves. So
like a library.
Except for all of this.
What?
This is the this is master control here at SciFi4Me TV. So all right. I'm done showing off.
Okay, so I thought that I was extra with going from 2 monitors to 3 monitors, and I've got a 27-inch one in the middle and 2 24s on the side, and I'm thinking that's too much. I need to step up my game. Well, I really do.
I
want to walk through.
I just got a 55 and a 27. I'm good.
I did a studio tour recently for our YouTube members, so that's available over on our YouTube channel. I just walked through with the camera and said, "Here's where all of this stuff is." So, Yeah,
Oh.
it's accumulated over the years. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm my day job. I'm in media production, so a lot of this stuff I already had, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not the high tech. I mean, the microphone mixer that I use is 30 years old, so it's not like I've spent a lot in
Wow.
this last, you know, 4 or 5 years or whatever to get all this gear. It's accumulated over the time. And no, I'm not related to Ethan, and I'm not related to the Hunt family for the Kansas City Chiefs either. So
Wow.
unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, here we are. But I'm happy to be here. This is a really good chance to sit and talk with you guys. I haven't had a chance to do that.
Oh.
Like you were saying, Lorena, we cross paths all the time online, socials and other people's streams and
Mm-hmm.
such, and we just haven't had the chance to connect. I'm glad we're able to.
Well, I am too, and so glad to have you here on the channel. And folks, if you want to check out, and not if, you should check out Jason's socials. Tom just dropped the link there in the chat, and of course, I'll have some other of his social links in the description box of this live stream when the stream is over. So let's see, we have got 48 of you folks in here so far between YouTube and X. So glad that you're here. Let's run through and let's see who we've got in the chat before we kick off our Tuesday night insanity. We've got Snortopoopas Q Burr, another one of my amazing wrenches. Hello, humans and other critters. We've got him. Let's see who else we have got. Of course, Tom F is on the panel and in the chat as well. We've got Linda here as well. Tom's better half, saying hi to Snortopoopas and hi to Tom. And let's see who else we've got here. So many of you coming in here. Mark Daly, greetings from the Panhandle of Florida, aka South Georgia. All right. Good seeing you. And of course, Mama Lugo is in the chat. Erica's mom. I love seeing Mama Lugo in the chat. Especially when she helps to verify some of the just strange food my Afro-Latina family would serve before I knew that's what we were. It's interesting. Yeah, that's what, yeah, exactly. And once I found out what my great-grandmother, OG Reina Creole's background was, my mom's cousin says, oh, she wasn't crazy. She was just of Spanish descent. I said, yes. So now we know where all the crazy comes from in our family.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah. It just, it goes down, goes down generations. We're just like, how come we can't put our finger on, what this is? So funny. Hey, Thanatos says hello, everyone. Good to see you, my dear. And of course, Juliet is here. I am loving that avatar as always. Good morning, Lorena, Erica, and chat. Good morning to you, my dear. And of course, SciFi4Me TV is in the chat and on the panel as well. We've got E. Clay Thomason.
Hey,
love that avatar, dude. Says nut job. He says hello. You have a good night, Snortopoopas. Get that polar bear rest. Thank you. And let me see. We also have Dan's Life at the Kingdom. Hey, everyone, get your bread cone ready. I need to go back to Epic Universe and get that bread cone with the macaroni and cheese from over at Isla Burke. I forgot to get it last time because I was too full, but that is the turkey leg of Epic Universe, is the bread cone with the mac and cheese in it.
I thought about that when I was with Bob that day, and I was just like, can I fit this right now? Can I do it? No, pass. I kicking myself. I should have got it.
It is so popular. They had to the fire grill that's across from Hooligan's Hideout. Now they're selling it because it's just so popular. macaroni and cheese in a bread cone. I can't wait to get it next
In a
time.
red
Hey, yes, it
mm,
in a bread cone.
I think my wife would probably go for that. I'm not sure that I'm sold on it. I'm not a big mac and cheese guy. She is. So I'll have to
Yeah.
tell her about that.
I'm not the only one.
Oh, that's not a mac and cheese fan.
I'm really, really funny about mac and cheese. It's not never at the top of my list.
I like mac and cheese, but I have to make the mac and cheese that has a smooth cheese sauce and isn't this baked, congealed, crunchy cheese concoction that my family makes, and I can't stand it. I don't like it that way. I don't go to the potluck and I'm like, macaroni and cheese isn't supposed to look like a lasagna brick. I'm sorry. It's just not
I douse mine in garlic powder just to take away from the cheese taste.
I guess I was a rat in my past life because I just like cheese any which way you put it, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, Raph is like that. The stinkier the cheese, the more he'll go for it. Well,
Oh, it may be the type of cheese though, because there's certain cheeses I do not like together.
oh, he don't
Plus,
care. The worse it smells, the more he's gonna be like, "Well, let me try that." He loves cheese.
oh my gosh. Yes, Professor X is
Ooh, gorgonzola.
that one's okay. That one's all right. I'm trying to remember. Blue cheese is too ripe. I'm sorry. Just set it on fire. Do not even get it anywhere near me. It's just
It goes good with wings. It goes great with wings.
if it's a
No.
milder blue cheese, you shouldn't be able to taste the penicillin in it. You know what I mean?
It's healthy for you.
I don't care.
It's cheaper than
Hey,
this.
that's why they invented ranch dressing. Just saying.
Oh,
There you go.
no. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, for real, the French restaurant over the Epcot Pavilion. Okay, the one that's overrated because yes, French food is overrated. I'm a Creole, I can say that. They brought out this charcuterie board, which I like cheeses. So they bring out all these different cheeses, and then they bring out this blue cheese, and they're like, "Yes, it's cave ripened. It's very, very ripe." I'm like, "How bad could blue
No.
cheese be?"
Mm-mm.
Did you say cave ripened?
Cave
bad.
ripened blue
No, they have
cheese.
some idiot going in there scraping it off in a cave. I mean, that's
All
Okay,
I
have
know
you
is,
seen the cheese that has worms coming out of it? It's like in Switzerland,
oh
and it's
hell,
like a rare delicacy, and they freaking go crazy over it. It's disgusting.
they can keep that because that cave ripened blue cheese, it tasted like it was still in the cave too. It was just
so you
no,
had
no,
stone scrapings from the wall, some slate
everything.
there,
Yeah, had even had some like cave drawings in it. That's just how
Well,
gross
I got
it
this mental
was.
image of a dude dressed as a caveman, just scraping cheese in the cave.
You got to write a book on with SciFi4Me, but you got to do that, man. Caveman discovers blue cheese and goes into outer space with it.
That sounds like something that you could probably put a spin on it for a Lovecraftian type of a tale where
Yeah.
it's the feast of the old ones
Oh,
with
These are the
worms.
old ones.
And
Oh,
all you got to do,
there's an idea there.
all you got to do is get me and Culture to start with it when we grow his beard back, and there you go. You got your caveman.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
gosh. I love it. See, we just love to mix it up on this show. Libra All Woman. Hello, says hello, Lorena. Thank you for the gifted membership. Actually, I believe you got gifted a membership from Angela Richter, one of my members who I haven't seen in a while. So I was glad to see her. She dropped in on my Love in Deep Space stream and gifted a couple of memberships. So that's thanks to Angela Richter. I have some very, very generous channel members that just gift out memberships, and it's just amazing. It's absolutely, absolutely amazing. Let's see. Starlena's here. Speaking of the fire, Rough Nut and Tough Nut had people act as the fire drill ride. Apparently, there's another video besides the one where he ordered Rough Nut to run for small bouts of water. Oh, really? Here's my question. Was the fire drill ride down? The reason I ask is that because over in the Magic Kingdom, when the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is down, sometimes the cast members will reenact the ride and they'll put like masking tape on the ground and they'll sing. It's actually pretty darn funny when they do that. Not funny when Pirates of the Caribbean is closed at 10 o'clock in the morning when it should be open, but.
So they go into like Disney Cruise Line mode? It sounds like something like an activity they would do on the Disney Cruise Line.
It does. But yeah, they are actually good at it. Not just the cast members kind of standing around like, I'm sorry, attraction's down. We don't know when it's going to be back up. It's like, okay, I don't care about your staffing issues. Then you have the ones who actually are into it and they'll recreate the ride with the script and everything. So.
It makes me think what they ought to do when Pirates of the Caribbean that ride is down. The cast members should all run around like Jack Sparrow saying, "Why is the rum gone?" And just doing that over
that's my
and over and
favorite
over
line.
Oh,
yeah. Is the rum always gone?
Rum's always gone.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why the ride is broken, because the rum is gone.
Is it coffee? Is it rum? I'm not going to tell you until it's gone.
If it's coffee or rum.
It's
we'll know later in the show.
Schrodinger's drink.
Well, back in the day when Captain Jack Sparrow was in the parks, he would actually come over to where the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is and ask about what rum is.
Oh, sure. I saw a clip, and I don't know where this was. I saw a clip of somebody. It was a reenactor who dead ringer for Johnny Depp. And I don't know if he was an official cast member somewhere. I want to say he was at one of the Disney parks, but you'd put him up against Johnny Depp and it'd be like twins. He was so close to perfect as a duplicate. It was uncanny. It was really, really weird.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the A team. That's what I call them. The A team.
Yep.
Friends of Jack Sparrow. They're so good. They're literally like dead ringers, mannerisms, and like everything is just down. Kiss my grits. I'm glad I'm not the only person who thinks that about French food. Give me Italian food all day, every day. Yes, I think French food is overrated. Granted, part of my ancestry is French, but let's put it this way. The smart ones who were French came over to the US, went to New Orleans, and plussed up that stuff. So it's very different. As a matter of fact, if you're a Creole in New Orleans, the only reason you learned the traditional French dishes were to impress people coming over from France and to prove that you could do those dishes with the technical acumen. But no one really wanted to eat those Creole palate is too diverse. And Italian food, I love. Only Southern Italian. I can't deal with Northern Italian food. It's just it's too frou-frou. But again, Italian food in New Orleans. That's why we have all the best chefs, and they all go to New Orleans. They all do. All you do in New Orleans is walk and eat. That's it. Walk and eat. You just cannot. You just have to. It's so.
Sounds like my type of place.
It is.
I found you talk about Italian food. I mean, pizza is not officially Italian food because they made it in New York. It was invented in New York, but the best pizza, Italian adjacent food that I have ever had was in Indianapolis, of all places, which is really weird because you think pizza Chicago or New York. Indianapolis, there was this place called Chicago's Pizza. It was a little hole in the wall dive. And it is probably some of the best pizza that I've ever had in my life. Really good stuff.
Wow.
45-minute wait just to order. So, but that was a long time ago. I was younger then and had less white hair in my beard.
That sounds absolutely delicious. And yes, I did hear about Ann Burrell. That really hit me because I would watch her on the Food Channel, the Food Network all the time. And every time I would have really, really lazy knife discipline, I would think about her because on the worst chefs in America, if you had your finger on top of the blade, she would come by, she put like a red dot on it. She's like, you learn how to use how to use the knife. Sam, hey, he says I'm Sicilian, so I'm biased. Of course, I think Italian food is better. Ah, I get it. I get it. The Italian in me comes from Naples, Napoli. So I think Italian food is awesome, but Italian food germinated in America is even better. You just bring like everything. I just do. I just do. I've told the story before about me going to an Italian restaurant and of all places, Britain, getting shrimp scampi and thinking I'm going to get these nice, juicy, plumpy shrimp, and they look like that. That's how small they were. I was so offended. Oh my gosh.
You didn't yell at him and go, "Where's the rest of it?" I would have.
I was hungry, so I ate it, but I made sure my face did not look happy because if you've been in the UK, they're not known for tasty cuisine. Y'all just aren't outside of fish and chips and trifle and scones. That's it. So I go to an Italian restaurant thinking I'm going to get some. Okay, it wasn't Nana's kitchen. Okay. It wasn't Nana who grew up in Hell's Kitchen. It was not that type of cuisine. All right. It just wasn't. And I was just like, no, 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 no. Every type of pizza in the United States has its origin in a different region, variation of pizza in Italy. I think the pizza that I'm used to, I want to say is it Campania? I don't know, but it's really flat. I want to say whatever New York style is, that's what I grew up with. New York style, flat. You can see the grease islands floating in it.
Oh gosh.
Not really Greece.
Oh, it's the best. It's
Well, and
absolutely.
they've got some good pizza in Chicago down the south side of Chinatown. It's called Rico Benny's. It's been there since 1945.
I've heard of
And
that place.
underneath
Oh,
it's
wow.
underneath the L. Every time I go to Chicago, I make a point of going there because it's really good.
Oh, nice.
And it's
Well,
family came to Chicago and they set up this restaurant. It's family owned. It's been there for I think they're on second, third generation works there.
oh, the family
Nice.
restaurants are the best,
Yeah.
unless the the mom and pop who ran it retired and the kids take it over and they don't do such a good job. There's a Chinese restaurant like that back in Philly where ever since the parents retired, food has been the same. But speaking of food, first of all, 65 of you folks in here watching. Speaking of food, do you think this guy has been eating a good amount of food? Coming to us from the rap, and I have to thank Kiss My Grits for giving me the heads up on this. Masters of the Universe, Nicholas Galzatine. I hope I said that.
I think it's
said that right.
Galitzin.
Galitzine?
I think it's Galitzin. Yeah.
Galitzin. Okay. I should have sounded that out first.
I haven't heard it pronounced yet, so I'm guessing as well, but that's what it looks like.
Okay. Please forgive us if we said it wrong. But looks like he has the power in First Look at He-Man. So the idea of you, Star, I've never seen that, plays a hero in Amazon MGM's new film reboot of the franchise. So what are you all, first of all, I know I watched a lot of He-Man. Not as much as I did it as say of She-Ra. Though they were kind of like together as a package. How many of you folks in the panel have watched the not the Kevin Smith abomination? Okay,
Originals.
we do not acknowledge that on this show. We acknowledge that it's a dumpster fire, but other than that, we don't. Yeah, the original.
I did.
Cartoons
Got my brother
in
hooked
the
on 'em.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
watched
talking
them
about-
both.
You're talking about the original Filmation stuff that sold the toys.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Money Factory.
Right. I didn't actually, I was a little bit older when it came out, so I missed them. My wife is a big fan of She-Ra though. So I've sent her a note to see if she's even seen this photo, but she was a big fan of She-Ra. I was very disappointed in all of the Kevin Smith stuff to hear the news about what happened with all of that. But I missed the original cartoon. I will admit. Sorry. But the photo looks, I mean, he looks the part.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little worried with some set photos that I guess had been leaked, and wasn't too happy with how that looked. But from the back, from the back, he definitely looks like it. Oh, what did Kiss My Grits say? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe defined my childhood. One of the greatest fantasies ever developed. And yeah, CJ, He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe ran one after the next. If I remember correctly, where I lived in Philly, it was Thundercats, because I always came at the end of that because He-Man came on after the Thundercats. So I get the tail end of Thundercats. I'd watch He-Man, She-Ra, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I was a weird girl.
I tuned out at G.I. Joe and Transformers, but I would watch He-Man and She-Ra.
You kind of had to watch the both of those together, but especially if you were into She-Ra. That I have a loungefly, a She-Ra loungefly. I need security when I go out with that. And I blame Geeky Sparkles over on Clownfish TV for posting a picture of that on X. And I went to Loungefly's website and bought it. And I should have bought the matching wallet, and I didn't. And every time I wear that backpack at Universal, I always get stopped. I get asked where I bought it. I'm like, not here. Didn't buy it here. And every time my sister would visit, she would get the She-Ra bag, and she's like, how attached are you to this bag? I said, not to even ask me that question. You definitely know not to ask me that. But yeah, He-Man, that was such a super, super, super powerful franchise. I just liked watching all that for the cartoon styles, but the storylines and all of that. But this is a big one. This is a big deal for them to get right, because the Kevin Smith abomination was trash. You can go back on my channel and see all the videos that I did calling out Kevin Smith about all that crap that he did. Yeah. He wants to be cool, even though he's not anymore.
Oh, girl, you better read Kiss My Grits. A comment right there. Oh, it's coming out tomorrow. Oh boy. She's going to log in and wait. If it's a virtual queue, she's going to be there.
Stream overs, people. She's going shopping. See you later.
First of She-Ra daggone it. Is that an online release, or is it going to be in Target too? Because if it's going to be in Target, I know some people I need to talk to. I
can be bribed to go to the one here.
Oh, I guess please. I need personal shoppers for this. that is that
I want to see the
doll.
looks I get if I buy a She-Ra doll.
This, you know what? It's okay, because people are going to assume that you're buying it for someone who really, really wants it, because it's that niche. Anything with like She-Ra on it, OG She-Ra, it's going to sell because of the nostalgia. That
They need to
is
come out with the
crazy.
He-Man doll too to complement, you know, and Skeletor. Like, come on, if you're gonna do one, just come on, you got to do the whole lot. You got to have the whole collection. You know what I mean?
CJ, can you shoot me that link on Instagram? Thank you. I'm going to check that out. I forget the oh gosh, was it Playmates? I think Playmates or somebody else, maybe it's still Playmates, that has a contract for all of the She-Ra, like the He-Man stuff. And oh wait, oh no, no, Lord, Jason's got a link. Jason's got a link. Let's see. Hang on. It's telling me I need to remove mine before I put his up here.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. Dude, she's gorgeous.
With brushable hair.
Oh my gosh.
And
I wasn't expecting her to look so good.
I bet the boots come off too.
Oh,
Yeah, of course. It's a Barbie
Yeah.
doll.
Okay, you know what?
my
Michelle knew exactly. Mattel knew exactly what they were doing it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, because I can't copy and paste on here, CJ. That's why. That's why. Oh my gosh.
And her
This
arm pose them. Oh my god. Pose them in any way.
this is
Yeah, they got
just
joints in the elbows there.
Mm-hmm.
look at the sword. Look at this. Oh my gosh. They've got the sword down.
I hope
I'm
she
s-
comes like a stand, like a doll stand, or unless you're going to keep her in the box.
So it has a countdown timer next to it?
Yeah, because people are just okay, not just people.
$5.
Let's put it this way. People like me and Erica who grew up watching this are going to push people into moving traffic to get to get to this doll.
And
Oh
then
my
you'll get
gosh.
people buying them to flip them on eBay too. You'll get
Yep.
those, you know, assholes.
Yep. I'm going to have to try. Oh my gosh. It doesn't look like it's going to be in stores. Oh, that's even worse.
That's even worse. Yeah, because that means it's a one-shot deal, and when they're sold out, and they may not even make any more if it's limited edition. So, yeah, you got a
Oh my gosh.
one-shot
It
deal
does
at
say
getting
here,
her.
yeah, it does say here doll stand included. Doll cannot stand alone, which kind of
Oh.
stinks, right? You're supposed to be able to just stand these up,
Mhm.
but apparently not.
Oh my gosh.
They
That
probably have
shot
someone.
from the back.
Yeah.
They're holding this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, a little further up. A little further up. Yeah, right there. That shot right there from the back. That just, oh my gosh. Side Tama, thank you so much for that $2 super chat. Let me hit you up.
I know you want the goodies. Welcome to the goodie room.
I do want this goodie for real, for real, for real, for real, just for the She-Ra reactions. Yeah. This is so freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's
Okay.
interesting. I've not seen this before. I mean, I'm not that wrapped up in Barbie, so I probably missed it a long time ago. But they're saying that this is a body type superhero. And when did they start doing these joints in the Barbie dolls? You see this here
Oh,
with
years
the
ago.
elbows? That's not a new
Yeah.
It's been around since like the like early 90s. It started with the gymnast Barbie.
Yeah.
Like it was like an Olympic, she was like an Olympian. Or was it a ballerina one? It was one of the two that started it, where you could bend her feet, you could bend her arms and her
I want to
and
say
her
it was gymnast
hand.
one, I think.
Yeah.
Because I had that one and that was the big selling point, was that, you know,
You
her.
could bend her in any way
Yeah.
to mimic gymnast
Mhm.
moves. And then they had a ballerina one that could do the same thing because she could point her toes and do
Yeah.
the tippy toe point for
Well,
the dance moves.
you've got all these extras here too. It looks like.
Could do
Oh,
John Wick
yeah.
move.
And the shirt. That is just okay. Well, we were supposed to talk about He-Man, but that's okay, because you can see just how, you know, combined together.
Well,
Erica, I think you're right on the U.S. Olympic
Yeah.
gymnast bar.
Okay, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was because I remember the Olympics being a big thing, and Mattel came out with a Barbie doll, and it was like the first ever Barbie that you could bend like that. And then from that point on, they
Mhm.
started making more of those dolls in that way where they had more movement other than their
Mhm.
arms being stationary like this
Yeah.
or stationary down. Yeah.
Well,
Oh my
and
gosh.
this has also been circulating around. Apparently, somebody has done some adjustments to the He-Man photograph to lighten it up so you get more detail.
Mhm.
I mean, he looks like He-Man. And I remember what you were talking about, Lorena, with the set photos where we saw, you know, Prince Adam in civilian attire on Earth, and a lot of people are wondering, oh, they're not going to do that story, are they?
Mhm.
But I think it's kind of early to start making assumptions on what the story is going to be yet. Maybe.
No, I'd agree with you on that, because people capturing candids isn't always what it's going to look like in post production, and yeah, it's just like, you got to wait until it comes out to see the final product. So the trailer is what's supposed to do the job to get butts in the seats. So I would say wait until the trailer comes out. And a lot of us are cautiously optimistic too. It's like we really want this to be good. If anything, because of the whole Kevin Smith disaster that happened, we just don't want to mess with it. Lorena, I was watching Mr. H yesterday, and he said he's spoken to a few sources on the Masters of the Universe set in the UK, and they said the movie is either going to be an epic success or epic failure, no in between. Well, I think uh, if they hit the lore right, there's certain things that fandom is willing to forgive as long as the soul of it, is there. At least that's what I think. What do you guys think?
Oh, sorry. ADD land. The doll's 76 euros here.
There's a part of my brain that said, "Shut up. We have to talk about other stuff. You can't sit there and drool like Barbie if you're a Barbie doll."
Could you please repeat the question, teacher?
No, I think if it comes from a good place with the Masters of the Universe movie, extremely faithful. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. If they do that translation right, I think it'll be okay. But
Well, and that's a point that Dean DeBlois makes about How to Train Your Dragon when they're talking about doing the live action version. And he makes the point, this is the first time that the live action project has had the same director as the animated project. And nobody knows these characters, nobody knows this story more than I do.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things he talks about, the soul of the story, the heart of it. And yeah, the live act it's not a one-to-one remake, animated to live action, because there's more stuff in the live action. But you've got the guy who wrote the original adaptation of the book, now writing another adaptation of the book, and he understands these characters probably better than anybody else that's been involved in either project. And so I think if you have something like that with Masters of the Universe, or with any other franchise, I mean, really, you can apply this all across the board. if you have people that are making the thing who
Mhm.
understand the core elements of what makes the thing, then you ought to be doing okay. I think that's one of the biggest complaints that people have had about Star Wars and Doctor Who, especially, is you've got people who should know what they're doing, who should know what this story is all about, and who've
Mhm.
demonstrated a clear lack of knowledge or priority in maintaining the integrity of the brands. So as long as the people who are doing Masters of the Universe have that focus on, we're going to do the best job we can, we're going to tell the best story that we can, we made this thing, we hope you like the thing, then I think
Mhm.
it should do okay. Maybe it
Yeah.
won't do a billion, but it probably will do all right.
It's like as long as it is one, getting butts and seats, two, repeat viewings, and three, because it's a family film, you're not just like getting one person, you get like a whole family that's there. As long as it is enough to do that and to catch that, feeling that you get if you saw the animated movie, or even if you did not see the animated movie, but you still get that emotional hit. That would be fun, especially on physical media and digital media. So speaking of that, I figured I'd share this really funny before we get into the live action How to Train Your Dragon discussion. So I got to thank Wall and Ballin for this. Dude finds so many cool stuff. It says, "We have planes, POV. You just watched How to Train Your Dragon."
OIA figures.
That's cute.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Really cool, really funny. And yeah, instead of dragons, it's we have planes. So I say that to say this. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Box office, How to Train Your Dragon roars to record 84 million US opening, 198 million globally. The live action adaptation of the 2010 animated film is firing on all cylinders. While Celine Song's specialty romantic drama, The Materialist, which I have no idea what the heck that one is.
That's the Dakota Johnson one with Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm kind of glad that I didn't see that one.
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, I had no idea what that movie was, and that's saying something because I was like, The Materialist, what the heck is this? People who I knew were just like, it's How to Train Your Dragon, or we're going to see Mission Impossible, or finally catch the last Final Destination film. But just to go, I'm going to show you guys the numbers real quick because I like showing the numbers. I am a numbers girl. And let's see here. Lilo and Stitch is still making money. That's going to make money regardless. That's printing money. Of course, Mission Impossible, Materialist. That's how much it made. The Materialist made what, 12 million?
Million. But it's A24, and I doubt that their budget is 300 million to make the movie.
Well, okay. So are they like Bloomhouse? Were they
kinda? Yeah.
okay?
A24 is not really. I mean, they're kind of indie. They're not art house so much, but they've been roaring along quite well on a lot of the other stuff that they've done. Right off the top of my head, I couldn't think of a title to save my life, but I want to say that A24 did they do Sound of Freedom?
No, that was Angel
That was
Studios.
Angel
I
Studios.
think
A24.
oh,
They're a
A24. I'm
smaller
sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to interrupt
they're
you.
a smaller studio.
They did do a movie that I liked called Talk to Me.
Mm.
Have you seen that one? It's about it's Yeah, it's pretty freaky. It's about like this possessed, this like piece of sculpture that apparently is cursed. And if you like hold it and say, talk to me, it's like something like this entity gets channeled through you. And you just do certain things, but people think that it's a joke, but it's not a party joke at all with what starts to happen with it. And it was pretty crazy, but for the budget that they had, it wasn't it was actually a pretty enjoyable film. I actually liked it, especially the twist at the end. So okay, I get it with the budget then with A24. That makes sense. So we'll see what happens with that.
But you also
That
see too with the number of theaters that it's had, the amount of money that it's making per theater is comparable to Lilo and Stitch. I mean,
mhm.
it's not on as many screens, but it's holding its own. We'll see if it has legs. I don't know that it'll be in theaters that long. It'll probably hit streaming pretty quick.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's good to see. Yeah, a lot of these indie studios, they've been making films that people really do, want to go and watch, and they usually thrive on word of mouth. I know when I went, a lot of people weren't really going to see that one, but How to Train Your Dragon, they are making quite amount of money. I saw it last night, and the theater that I went in, it wasn't very crowded because, well, it was late at night. Well, it was late when I went. So that initial weekend release where everybody went out to see it, I was supposed to go on Thursday. I couldn't get a seat, so so I didn't go. But for most of the people who saw it, it was a pretty respectable amount of folks going out to see it. So let's see. Borrowing a page from Disney's playbook is paying off big time for Universal at the box office, where the live action remake of DreamWorks Animation's How to Train Your Dragon opened to a series best 83.7 million domestically and 197.8 million globally, according to Sunday estimates. That includes a huge international haul of 114.1 million from 81 markets. Now, Jason, I believe you have seen the remake as well,
I
correct?
have, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. What were your thoughts about it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it's been a very long time since I've seen the animated picture. I've slept since then. I'm old, so I don't remember exactly watching that one. But as I'm sitting there, the first 5-10 minutes of this thing, it was easy to forget that this is a remake of the cartoon. If you look at it as another adaptation of the book, you can completely ignore the cartoon and not do the comparison. Well, the cartoon did it this way and the cartoon did it that way. And you just ignore that. But the movie makes it easy to do that. And it's not a replacement. It's like seeing it's like the difference in seeing Back to the Future in the movie theater and Back to the Future on stage. It's a different format of the same story, and it still works. Everybody does a good job. The kid playing Hiccup, the kid playing Astrid. I mean, Nico Parker, for all the grief that everybody talks about. Oh, she doesn't look like Astrid. She's got blonde and blue eyed. This is a reality in this story where there are dragons. So if they have a line, you know, somewhere in there, Stoic brings all of the people together. It was like, yeah, I know you guys are beaten down. You guys are really disappointed. We haven't found this nest of these dragons yet, but you guys have come from all over the world, all the representing all of the different tribes of Vikings, and what they lampshade the whole Black Viking thing right there with one line, and it's a throwaway, and it's done, and it's gone, and nobody puts anything agenda driven into this film. But the flying sequences are really good. And actually at one point made me think about Top Gun Maverick. And it was one of those. I
Agreed.
mean, it was somebody watched Top Gun Maverick before they did this sequence, but the visual effects feel fully baked as opposed to Marvel baked. And this line where Universal's taking a page from Disney, I would characterize it as Universal out Disneying Disney, because they're doing it with the parks with Epic Universe, and now they're doing it with their live action remakes of the animated, because this is how Disney should be doing their live action adaptations, instead of making significant changes that are noticeable to the people who go and see it, like what happened with Lilo and Stitch. And I know that the reactions to that are all over the place. Tom Connors over at Midnight's Edge has been saying it's not that big a deal, and he's just been getting raked over the coals for it online. And I haven't seen it. I'm not a big Disney person anyway when it comes to that kind of stuff. But if you're going to do a remake, then I would say you do it this way. Because it's based on a book and there are 12 books in the series, you could do this and say, okay, I'm just going to go back to the source material. This doesn't necessarily have to even be a remake of the cartoon. You could ignore it and it still works. And it works really well. I mean, there wasn't anything in there that distracted me out and I thought, oh, wait, why did they do that? I thought it was good. It's easily going to make $1 billion.
I 100% agree. Going back a little bit to Lilo and Stitch, because I know we had a stream a couple weeks ago where I talked about the ending and I actually explained the ending, and you had some people who were up in arms saying that, oh, Nani abandoned Lilo. And yeah, because Erica, we talked about this. No, that didn't happen. That's not what happened. And folks have to understand that that's a live action version. It's not shot for shot the animated version. So folks I mean, I don't get it. Some people are like, oh, there's this massive fan outcry. If there was a massive fan outcry, that movie would not be making as much freaking money as it's making on repeat viewing. It should have dropped out of the sky like Snow White, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And it didn't, and it hasn't. With How to Train Your Dragon, there wasn't agenda stuff shoved in there. I see where they were going with, the tribes from all over. And Jason, you're right. It was like a throwaway line. They put it in there to explain it, and that was it. I will say I was a little bit jarred about how come there's Asian Vikings and how come there's Black Vikings? And as someone with Viking ancestry, I'm looking around like, y'all shouldn't be here. Not at this point in time. But it's a film. So they put that line in there, like you said, they put that line in there to explain the aesthetics, and then they threw it away.
Well, and that's a technique called lamp shading, which basically is the people who are creating this thing, they know that there's something there that shouldn't be there. And so they call attention to it in order to dismiss it. And so, okay, yeah, it's like in the old cartoons when you're gonna hide somebody who's not supposed to be there. You put the lampshade on them and they pretend to be a floor lamp. That's where this comes from. That's the same kind of thing. We know there's this thing, and if you paid attention to it, it'd be a problem. But we're just gonna cover it with a line and it's done, and we're gonna ignore it. And that's what they do. And the Isle of Berk, it's a fantasy. There's dragons. There's a fudge factor there that if you want to see the problem, then you're going to see the problem. But otherwise, it's easy to ignore.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. This whole film, when you see it, you get immersed into this world completely. The visuals are stunning. 2 dragons besides Toothless. Toothless is always badass to begin with. And how the emotion that whoever did the job on the CGI and the puppetry on this, probably the same people that have the Toothless puppet meet and greet that's at Epic, which is going to be 2 hours long because people want to meet Toothless. Because Tom and I have seen that in person. You guys have seen the streams where we've been there at the meet and greet, and they've got the one team member as hiccup, and he's got that down. And then the toothless puppet that's there, it's not some static thing that just stands there. It's like it blinks its eyes, its irises dilate, it like breathes just like in the movie. You can hear it.
I want to take it apart.
Yeah.
Take it apart.
Right?
Figure out
I'm
how
with
it
Tom
works.
on that one.
Yeah, basically.
Well, and I wonder how much of the original rigging, animation rigging they used for this, or if they started from scratch, because you're in a different environment all the way around for these elements. And I don't know how much that impacted the design. I do know I saw Dean Du Bois talking about at one point designing the movement of Toothless. A lot of it is inspired by panthers, as opposed to like birds or dinosaurs or anything like that, because he does have a certain amount of cat-like movement, and they based a lot of it on panther movement, which I thought was really interesting.
The one where he like walks around a circle, first he like scores the ground, he walks around in a circle and curls up and goes to sleep.
Yep.
Just like you I know, I see your worth now. Yeah, literally. That's what he is right now. He's curled up just like Toothless in the film, and just sleeping. And I yeah, I totally get that. I think one of the ways, and the reason why I'm like stopping, is because I'm trying to get this video. I think one of the ways that they got a head start on the rendering and the rigging for this. Have you heard of the Reluctant Dragon show that actually started at Universal Studios Beijing?
No.
And that's now in Epic Universe. I think how they started with that is because there is an actual, this is Reluctant Dragon show.
They're calling it the Untrainable Dragon here, right?
Oh my gosh, why am I calling it the Reluctant Dragon? That's a book. Yes, the Untrainable Dragon. You're sitting in the audience. There's this cloud scene that comes out, and people look up, and there is Toothless. That is a puppet. And yes, that is an actor that's on top of that particular puppet. So I think they probably used some of that as like a guideline for the live action.
Well, I don't know that they would have done that so much, because the physical model like that with the puppet, the skeleton and the rigging would be different in terms of how you design for the movement that needs to happen in the film, because you have to have a lot more points of articulation than you do for like what you have there for the puppet, because a lot of that body right there is not moving at all. Whereas with the CG Toothless in the live action film, everything is moving. Skin's moving. He's breathing. The eyes, all of the feet and the toes and the wings and the tail and everything else. So I would imagine if they had anything that they used, it would probably have been the original models from the animated, because that was CG. And it would translate, at
Okay.
least give them a starting point as far as not having to start completely from scratch. But that is an impressive puppet right there. Yeah.
And a trainable dragon makes Bill and Show look like a recital. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's just something I thought about, because I was thinking, if they just had something, around, like give us something to kind of just to start looking at. So that's why I thought about that. I thought about this
But that
show.
does make me think about Jurassic Park, in those movies where you in some cases they have a physical puppet like this as a reference model on set. So it gives the actors something to interact with that eventually gets replaced by the CG. So they could have used something like that during the times when they were actually shooting the footage with the actors and then go back in and replace it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility too.
Did I tell you? Everyone's reactions when they saw this was just like, I can't believe this dragon is flying. And of course, that's an obvious tie-in to the live action film. But when you see the film, you're not thinking about all the external stuff that's been talked about out there in the interweb, so to speak. When you see this film, you see a kid who desperately wants his father's approval. You see a village that's trying to survive because dragons are, killing people and stealing and stealing, their sheep and everything. And you have a Viking here who thinks differently than everyone else. And there are no throwaway characters. The performances are they're really good. I think that they're really good. The actor who plays Hiccup, he was also the kid in the Black Phone. And if you have not seen the Black Phone, you need to see that movie. Black Phone is really, really good. Of course, he's grown up from, from that time. But yeah, same guy. Nico Parker's performance, I really did like. To talk about Nico Parker a little bit, because folks have been talking about that. And I've talked about this on this show repeatedly. People are like, she doesn't have blonde hair. She doesn't have this. I said, well, as far as I was concerned, if they put her in a blonde wig or something like that, I really wouldn't have had a problem with it. She had like a little bit of blonde in the front with the braids. But you had people who were saying that, that she was Black. She's not 100% Black. Her mother is biracial. Okay. And her father is white. So it's like, I really don't understand where this is coming from.
Well,
But
I think a lot of it stems from, well, there's two things that I think is one, you have the purists. If you're going to do an adaptation of something else, then it should look like that source material. In which case, Astrid should look like Astrid. And before that, before we got the casting announcement, there was that video that cropped up on from Epic Universe where you had the girl that plays Astrid at the park, who is a dead ringer, and everybody's like, here she is. Why don't you put her in the movie? And so you had that, and so there was the that primed the pump a little bit for expectations to be that Astrid would look like she did in the cartoon. And then you have the announcement and the first photographs where she's clearly a mix racial wise, and some photos she's got the Jerry curls, all the big
she has the braids
thing and the braids and stuff. And people's like, well, we don't need a Black Astrid. They didn't have black Vikings. Well, we took care of that problem. But I think her performance is really good. And she's, despite what Nico Parker said in that interview about the whole boss bitch thing, I don't see girl boss fighting my patriarchy in this movie. She had a couple of moments where she's just kind of, she's really aggressive, but she was that way in the original movie. I mean, I didn't see any difference nothing jumped out at me that said agenda. So the other point to that is people want to be mad about things. We're in the point in the development of the new media that we are, where some channels, we've gotten into the habit of criticizing everything and we nitpick things to death, and any little thing will set off complaining about it. And it's almost like we get into the habit, we need something to complain about. Well, let's just find something wrong with it, because that gets the clicks, the outrage bait and that sort of thing. And we need to be careful to kind of dial back from that.
I call that pissed off and mad about it.
Right.
Yeah, which can be really, and I agree with you. I agree with Jason. It's just like people finding stuff to be mad about. the whole thing about, well, Ashford doesn't look exactly the way she looks like in the animated feature. Okay, well, guess what? You're not the casting agent.
Yeah.
You're not the person who gets to pick that. They pick Nico Parker. Well, first of all, her mom is Sandy Newton. Her father, I believe, is a filmmaker. She's done several films. So that's who they picked. Me, I'm just like, put her in a blonde wig. I'm good with it. I don't see the problem. And then people get into the race aspect. And I'm just like, look, if you want a definitive amount, she's only a quarter black, but just saying, like quarter black Garrett, actually. So, so some folks don't realize this. That's exactly what she looks like. Nico Parker looks like my nieces who are biracial. My nephew's biracial and he has blonde hair. Go figure. That's kind of just that's how things happen.
Well, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I'm seeing her performance, and the fact that she doesn't have blonde hair. 5 seconds in my head. Oh, okay. Yeah. She doesn't have blonde hair. So what? She completely owns the role. She inhabits Astrid with 100%. She's right there, fully invested. And the other thing too is the chemistry that she has with the kid playing Hiccup. And you go back and see all of the different ways that people decide on who gets put into a cast. And there's been a lot of discussion lately. Well, who's got the biggest Instagram following? You can have that person, not that person. And James Gunn talks about casting, David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan together. Not just I'm going to cast Cornsweet as Superman. Now we got to find Lois. He's casting Clark and Lois together. The two people that have got the most screen time together have to have chemistry. And that's what the Du Bois talk about when they were casting these characters. Thames and Parker had the most chemistry between the two. And it never bothered me at all that she didn't have blonde hair.
No, I mean, I didn't either. It's like, the thing that I cared about was her being convincing as Astrid when she says, you need to take this seriously, because Astrid always took that seriously about fighting the dragons. That's just who she was. She was just like, look, I do not have time to play around. Either you're with me, you're good for something, or you're good for nothing. I need to know what that is. And of course, I call it the Top Gun scene. The scene in the animated film where Astrid finds out that Hiccup's been hiding not just any dragon, but a Night Fury dragon.
Yeah.
And she loses her crap and she just stalks off to leave. And Toothless goes and picks her up and brings her back. And she just does not know what to think. That whole scene where, Toothless is flying like he's a Maverick all over the place to finally get her to admit, I'm sorry. And, she apologizes to him. That actually feels genuine when you see that scene.
That actually reminds me, there's one piece of that flying sequence when they hit the top of the arc and she kind of bounces off of Toothless and she kind of flies, kind of pinwheels ahead up top of them. That was the one place where I looked at it and said, well, the CGI is a little bit dodgy right there. There's something about when she comes up off of Toothless that looked a little odd. And I only noticed it because I noticed how much everything else was so good. And that was kind of jarring to me. I was like, okay, I can forgive that one little bit. But you're right. The flying sequences are great. And that scene where they grab her and take her and flying, whatever. Every character, like you were talking about earlier, every character's got an arc that makes sense for the character. It makes sense for the story. Stoic even has more to do in this than he had in the cartoon.
I love Gerard Butler in it.
He does great. He's great. And they're talking about Cate Blanchett coming back for her character for the second one.
I hope they do because I
Yeah.
love Kate Blanchett.
Du Bois
I
says that it's hers to turn down. So,
Ooh, I hope
and
she picks it up.
there's 12 books. So
Mm,
they did 3 in the animated, but they could possibly what happens if each one of these does well enough, they decide, okay, let's do the 4th book, let's do the 5th book, let's go all
hmm
12. You could have another Harry Potter franchise here, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, it'll. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Erica. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I just with the books, I've got nieces and nephews that are into How to Train Your Dragon, from the books to the movies, even down to the series. They showed me on Netflix. They're like all into the lore of How to Train Your Dragon. And I haven't seen the movie yet, and I want to see it, but it didn't bother me that they changed a little bit of her look. I mean, it's hair, it's
hmm
and you're talking about dragons. It's a fantasy world and Vikings. I mean, there's some forgiveness that can be extended there as long as, the storyline is solid and loyal to the original, where they're not going crazy with the storyline and trying to twist it and manipulate it to shove a message in here or do virtual signaling, where they're really doing crazy race swapping. I mean, like crazy, crazy race swapping,
hmm
like what we're seeing with the Harry Potter, with Snape, where it's just like, whoa, in your face. I mean, it was the changes are subtle. And from what I'm hearing, the story is just like the cartoon with actually enhancements. There
hmm
are added elements that enhance the story. It doesn't change the story, it enhances it, and I feel like there are people out there that just don't know the difference. So, "Oh, well, you did this and changed it." No, there's a difference between change and enhancing a story, especially for live action, because not everything is gonna translate from animation to live action.
Yeah.
It
Well,
it
and that's something that Du Bois talked about, giving Stoic more to do. And in this one, because he has the time now that he can do that with the live action and give him more, not just him and Hiccup and that dynamic, but leader of the group, got to go find the dragons, the whole quest to defeat the enemy, and how beat down he is because they haven't succeeded so far, and all of that arc, and his basically his redemption when he realizes that Hiccup's right and you can do something different other than just trying to wipe out the dragons. See, he's got more meat on his bones story wise in between those
hmm
two moments where it's like, what am I going to do with this kid? And oh, hey, look at this kid, he's doing this thing, and we ought to be we doing it in that space between those two. He's got more to do that takes him through that arc, and it justifies that change of mind at the end a little bit more.
hmm
So
Yeah. I mean, this just well, if you see in the animated series, you know what happens. But at the end,
spoilers.
I know spoilers, but let's just say at the end, just Gerard Butler's reaction and the change that you see in him. That hit even harder in the live action than it did in the animated version. So that's one thing that I noticed. I absolutely I love that scene. I was almost in tears. I'm a tough chick, but daggone it, that almost made me cry. And the alpha dragon. I got to talk about a little bit before we wrap up, a little bit about the individual dragons that they had, and that's a really big strength of this film is how much love and labor was put into making each dragon look differently, especially the fire dragon. That one, just I did not expect what I saw with that, and just how it looked. That dragon, even the little tiny dragon, that they didn't think was going to be a threat, and it turned out to be way more than a threat. The two-headed dragon, where one head does one thing, the other one does the other thing. Even the way that Stormfly looked, they were all different. And the alpha dragon, okay, that reminded me of Godzilla -1. I don't know if that was on purpose. I have no idea, but I'm just saying, especially with some of the shots, that yeah, that gave me flash. It looked great. I geeked out seeing that.
It did. I didn't get a Godzilla vibes so much as I got the the fat red dragon in the D&D movie.
Oh,
and
okay.
I know he's got a name. And any of you that play D&D, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. But red fat dragon. That's kind of what I got from this, because he's massive, and I can see now that you've mentioned, I can see the Godzilla angle as well. So either one of them works. But yeah, it was an impressive piece, and I had actually forgotten about that part of the story. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a thing, but I didn't even remember that from the animated picture.
No, I think the animated series, I mean, it was big, but it wasn't like my jaw didn't drop. And maybe it was something about it being up on the big screen and how they did it with its movements and what it looks like. And it had like 6 eyes and whatever, and just how they did it. Because I'm a big, huge kaiju fan. I just thought that was cool. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Not only was it cool, but then it also tied together a lot of the teamwork elements as well. So that's also what I like. But one last question I want to pose to everyone on the panel. What I hear a lot about live action remakes is no one asked for this. What do you all think when you hear that? Why do you think people are saying, no one asked for this when a live action version comes out of something animated?
Well, to be honest, we don't ask for anything. We just kind of review what Hollywood puts out when we decide if we're going to like it and watch it based off the trailers. It's been that way since the beginning of film. We don't really ask for anything. They just put it out there, and if the story interests you or the actors or whatever, you go watch it. If you don't want to, then you don't. When they redid Cinderella, I mean, I'll watch any version of Cinderella just because I like the conceptual story of Cinderella. And I have seen every adaptation that is out there, from very B quality to Disney's live action, even Rodgers and Hammerstein. And I haven't seen one I didn't like, to be honest, just because I love the story of Cinderella. Now, in terms of quality, if I really want to get nitpicky, I think Disney did a beautiful job. And yeah, I didn't ask for it, but I mean, they did a great job with it, and I'm glad they did. It was beautiful, and I actually watched that one more than the cartoon version.
Well, and I think a lot of times when you hear that nobody asked for those, it's not necessarily just the live action versions of the cartoons, right? Because nobody asked for a Han Solo origin story. Nobody asked for Andor. Nobody asked for the Kenobi series. And when they announce certain things, and I think now, to Erica's point that we've never asked for anything, I'm not quite sure that would be the case, because especially nowadays in with social media being the way it is, you can have a grassroots movement that influences decisions. It may not necessarily, be the end all be all, reason why somebody does something. But even before the internet, you had letter writing campaigns that saved Star Trek. It saved Cagney and Lacey, Jericho. Fans, the audience does have an impact if they organize and they do certain things. They take certain actions to bring people aware. Say, hey, yes, we actually are watching the show. I mean, Chuck. Everybody went to go Subway. Everybody went to Subway for I don't know how much because they were a sponsor of the show. And so they said, okay, NBC, we want you to renew Chuck for another season. So everybody organized and they all went. Now, this is the early days of the internet. They all went to Subway because Subway was an advertiser on Chuck. Jericho, it was peanuts. George H.W. Bush made some comment about not liking broccoli. And so everybody started piling broccoli on the gates of the White House. These kind of things happen a lot. And a lot of times they happen organically. Bejo Trimble organizing the first letter writing campaign to save Star Trek. Roddenberry might have had something to do with it, but she was a fan and she and her husband organized this thing and said, let's write letters to NBC. And the general, conventional wisdom has it that for every one letter that somebody sits down and takes the time to write, then you have a certain number of people that feel that same way that are not writing that letter. So it's a percentage, and I can't remember exactly the numbers. Like for every one letter, there's another 50 people that feel the same way or something like that. There's a ratio there, and so it does impact how some of those things are happening. Depending on the project, yay, nay, but yeah, I think these live action remakes of the cartoons are completely unnecessary. And for the most part, they do feel rather mercenary. They're cash grabs. This thing is popular. The cartoon is popular, so let's make the live action version of it as a cheat because Hollywood's bankrupt. We don't want to do anything other than just remake and remake and remake. And that goes back to the Spaceballs roll up announcing the sequel. We've got 7 Jurassic Parks and we've got 38 Marvel films and we've got DC attempt number 1 and DC attempt number 2 and 2 Robert Downey Jr.'s and this thing with Star Trek and Star Wars prequels and sequels and prequel to the sequel and the prequel to the prequel and all these TV shows. That whole roll up there announcing the Spaceball sequel is a very concise indictment of the creative bankruptcy of Hollywood because it's all a remake. And yeah, no, we didn't ask for any of it. It's completely unnecessary. Some audiences will, some people in the audiences will respond to them more than others, and some projects will get better response than others. I think How to Train Your Dragon is going to get a lot of positive response. It's going to have legs. Some of the Disney stuff, not so much. I mean, you look at Snow White. Part of it was Rachel Zegler being stupid, but part of it was all of the mad scrambling to fix all of the parts that were broken because of everything that got reported online that we all knew about. It says this is going to be an absolute mess, and it was. So I think it's hit and miss sometimes on that stuff, but I do think the audience does have an impact if they are passionate enough, they're organized enough. Well, look at the Snyder Bros. Right? They organized, hired a plane to circle San Diego Comic-Con. Give us the Snyder Cut. Give us the Snyder Cut. Give us the Snyder Cut. So that I think. No, we didn't ask for it. Sometimes we do. And sometimes we get what we ask for. Sometimes we don't. I mean, we're all still waiting for Star Trek Legacy.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time covering what he just covered because some of my sentiments are the same.
All over the place.
But, when people say, we didn't ask for this, well, you're not the ones making it. They're going to make what they think they're going to make money off of. And then we're going to get shoved the same old crap or something devoid of what we liked about that and missing parts that we liked about it changed. Case in point, what's going on with HBO and they're redoing Harry Potter, changing something that's jarringly shouldn't be changed compared to what they did with Astrid, which is not so it's popular, but it's not like Harry Potter yet. It's not that type of following. Nobody asked for it, but they're going to do it anyway.
Well,
And that's
Dakota Johnson has been very vocal in almost every interview that she's done on every project she's done since Madam Web, basically calling out the industry, saying the wrong people are in charge making the decisions. And she can get away from that. She can get away with that because she's Tippi Hedren's granddaughter. She's got she's Don
I didn't
Johnson.
know that.
Well, Don Johnson and Melody Griffith are her parents, and Melody Griffith is Tippi Hedren's daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
Birds, this is the Birds, and I think Dakota Johnson has a little bit of insulation because of that. But she's been very forthright and very direct in saying, it is as concerns Madam Web, that's not the movie I thought we were making. And when it comes to the finished product, she's like, I don't have any control over it, but that's not what I thought we were doing. And it doesn't look anything like what I thought we were shooting. And then every single time, she's doing press for Materialist now, and she's doing the same thing. Hollywood's being run by the wrong people, making the wrong decisions for the wrong reasons, and there's not a creative bone in any of them. And I'm waiting for somebody to slap her down. But it hasn't happened yet.
No, she's too, how would I say it? She has old Hollywood roots. So like you said, she's protected from.
She's not Hollywood royalty. She's not a Barrymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think she's insulated a little bit more than she might otherwise be because of her lineage.
Yeah, and I 100% agree, especially as someone who's had the, should I say, fortune or misfortune of living in the LA bubble for 5 years and started to learn about, these old Hollywood families and how it's like, why are these certain people getting role after role after role and they can't act for squat? Well, that's because of who their grandparents are, and if they want money for their movie, it is how it is.
Peepaw to me.
Which one?
Peepaw.
Nebo?
Peepaw. Good old Mandalorian wannabe, showed his face finally. Pedro.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal is flavor of the month.
He is.
A lot of that has to do with who his parents are. Not because they're famous, but because they're political refugees. And they're on the right side of Hollywood in terms of being socialists.
Mm-hmm.
And the oppression representation checkbox gets put into that as well. The fact that he's got a transgender sibling factors into it. The fact that he's not white factors into it. Yeah, he checks a lot of boxes.
Well, I always have a knee jerk. Erica knows exactly where I'm going with this. I always have this knee jerk reaction when it comes to Pedro Pascal when he talks about, because he's from Argentina, right?
I think
one of those
is either Argentina. Yeah, I think
no,
it's
Chile.
Oh, Chile.
Chile.
I think it's
Okay.
Chile.
Even worse. Okay. So as much as he talks about oppression, it's just like, I just want to remind people, 3/4 of enslaved Africans were not sent to the United States, but they were sent to Latin America. Okay. They were sent to Latin America, places like Peru, Chile, Colombia, Argentina. And at the end of the Civil War, folks who still wanted to do the whole slavery thing went to South America.
Well, and his parents being political refugees is a little bit of a misrepresentation too, because they weren't oppressed in Chile. They were rebels in Chile. They were resistance against the government at the time. And because of that, they fled the country because they were not on the right side of the government of Chile when he was a kid. So, that whole political oppression thing, it's a really nice play, but context puts it in a different light.
Yeah. Especially when people like Pedro's not white. I'm like, oh yeah, in Chile, he definitely is. All right. Why do you think, well, I do it this way. It's like, okay, so why is it some of my ancestors who were of Spanish descent, okay, you know what their race was on the census? Blanco.
Yep.
What is that word in Spanish?
White.
Right.
Winner, chicken dinner. Yes. Yes. So
Well,
basically what Pedro is saying is they're saying he's not Anglo. That's what they're getting at there.
Well, and Nico Parker, she's light skinned enough she could pass for white if you're going to get into that argument, that discussion. I didn't. I'm looking at her. I was like, okay. I mean, she's got a look. She doesn't look any particular way. I could see some ethnicity mix there, but white, black, Hispanic, Native American, whatever, it's not an obvious thing. It was like, well, okay, she's playing Astrid. I think people make a big deal out of a lot of things that shouldn't be a big deal just so they can make a big deal out of it.
I think so. It's like folks
it.
who want to complain, just to complain. You've always got those, those types that are out there, and social media makes the noise, even louder, so to speak. So yeah, but to answer my question about it's just like nobody asked for this. It's like, well, nobody asked for Star Wars either. But guess what? We got it. No one asked for Star Trek. We got it. No one asked for no one asked for a live action version of the Lord of the Rings books, but guess what? We got it. God best Peter Jackson, because I did not want to read the books because I didn't have the time. But I'm telling you, the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson trilogy, that is a joy to freaking watch. That it's like a good time. And also when it comes down to it, art really isn't always about giving people what they ask for. A lot of art is about putting what your vision is that's out there and hoping that the audience finds it. At the crux, that's what it is. At least it is to me. You will have people who will say, hey, we saw that movie, we love it, we want more of this particular genre. It's like I can get it in that way. But when it comes down to it, just like Tom said, Hollywood's going to make what they want to make. Your power as a consumer is to watch it or not watch it. So if it's like, I don't like the race swap in that, okay, well, don't watch it. Films aren't immune to economics. They're either going to crash and burn or they're going to fly. One of the two. But Hollywood used to take real risks, and that's not something that they do anymore. It seems that the indie studios are the ones that take the risks that Hollywood used to take. And there was something about taking a risk that makes you prudent in some things and bold in other things. So
well, and Lorena, the thing that you're saying there, either watch it or don't watch it. If you don't like the race swap, then don't watch it. You keep your money in your pocket. It's a lot easier. It's fine when people like us say that kind of thing because we're amongst fans. We're all of a piece in terms of what kind of relationship we have with these entertainment properties. But when the people that are making those things are saying, well, you don't like it, don't watch it, that has an economic impact that our stuff doesn't have. When Shooty Gatwa sits there and says, well, just don't watch it, go touch grass, and you lose 500,000 viewers in a weekend, that's a real problem where your people that are involved in these things, your writers, your directors, your actors, the people who are promoting it, they're making it. We talked about it on Monday, the Tom Cruise effect, where he's sitting there saying, thank you for watching our movie. We hope you like it. going to the theater. Hey, I go through two buckets of popcorn. You should go watch Sinners. Go watch Ballerina. I mean, he's cheerleading for an entire industry. He's basically saving movies, practically single-handedly. And then you have people like Rachel Zegler, for example, or, Nico Parker speaks a little bit out of turn, and people can take that and say, okay, well, look, if that's your attitude, I'm just not going to, it's what I call Kelly Sue DeConnick. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. There needs to be people, especially with these young kids who, skulls full of mush, as Limbaugh used to say, they need to be told, shut up. You're here to talk about the movie. We made this thing. We hope you like the thing. And then shut up. You don't talk tariffs. They tried to ask Tom Cruise about the tariffs. Oh, Trump's going to do tariffs. He's like, no, we'd rather answer questions about the movie. Shut it down. Tom Felton, he gets asked about J.K. Rowling. Oh, well, that's not even, I'm not even attuned to that. I'm not even paying attention to that. But all of these people who have come together because they're fans of Harry Potter, that's on her. And I got my job and I got my career because of her, and I'm grateful. Shut the whole thing down. That's what these people need to be taught how to do, and they're not being taught. And the whole thing with the AI stuff is just going to make it worse.
Oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. But yeah, Jason, I 100% agree with you, because something I wanted to show you. This is another reason why you need to keep your mouth shut, or better yet, only say certain things, because certain outlets can take what you say and run with it as the clickbait for this article. Now, this whole thing about her being a boss bitch, that's way, 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 way down in the bottom of the article, where she talks about how she loves the character of Astrid, and playing her made her personally feel that way. But what they have in this first part is really what should have been referenced, where she says one of the powerful things about the film is that it makes people feel seen. Nico Parker, who plays Astrid, told Variety, despite the element that is otherworldly, whether you're a Hiccup or an Astrid, a lot of people are touched by it.
Yep.
That would have been a much better headline to go with, because that is true about that film. It makes people feel seen, makes Hiccup feel seen. The dragons being seen in a different light, the dragons being seen as being under someone else's control instead of just out for themselves to just destroy, the Vikings. It just makes a group of misfits feel seen, like, hey, we got to go save our parents. So we got to do, what we got to do. And especially with Hiccup being seen as, he's a different type of Viking, but he's no less than for being a different type of Viking. Now, that would have been a boring title, but it would have been true. But hey, for clicks, that's what Variety's going to put out there. And frankly, they've been at this game for a long time, but that's a prime reason, especially for you young folks who like to put your whole lives out on social media. We don't need to see all of that. Be careful. These rags are not your friends.
She did an interview with the Times of London when they were talking about the backlash to the casting, and this whole school of thought in terms of the things you should say and the things you don't say. She says there's some people that really love the animated movies and really want to see an exact play-by-play of that film, and I hope that you can watch this new version and find something that you love about it regardless. But for the people that just hate inclusivity, hate change, when it comes to that side of things, I just don't care. She's like, if I wouldn't value your opinion on most things in life, I can't value your opinion on my hair. So she's basically kind of saying, we made the thing. We hope you like it. You liked the original. We hope you can come away with something that you like out of this new thing. But as far as the rest of this stuff, I can't afford to care about it, because I don't even know who you are. You're not in my life. You're not friends, family, colleagues, mentors, boss. You're not paying my bills. So, it really does feel like there's been a shift in the last couple of years of how people are dealing with the publicity of this stuff. Some people are taking longer to learn than others, but I do think that we're seeing a shift in how people are responding to questions about the thing. So maybe it continues to get better. I don't know.
Oh.
It goes that way in the car scene, motorcycle scene, guitars. People will comment on something you get. Oh, I don't like that. This is that. Why'd you buy that piece of crap? It's that brand.
Yeah.
My usual comment back to that is when you pay for it, then I'll give a crap what you think.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, and that goes back to what Dakota Johnson says about the wrong people being in charge, because they're not thinking in terms of, like Harrison Ford says, I don't look at them as fans. They're customers. There's a financial transaction here. It's not just, hey, I like your thing. It's, I'm paying you for access to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't like what you're doing, I'm going to withhold my money. Or I'm going to vote for the other guy because I don't like your policies. Or I'm going to go listen to this radio station because they play music I like, and I'm not going to listen to that radio station. And so the ratings reflect that. All of these different things, there are consequences, because if you create something and you do something people don't like, they will go someplace else. And that impacts the revenue. And streaming has killed all of that thought, because the studios have their own streaming service and they have their own distribution model, and the money thing has completely just been blown up. And the people that are in charge now are not thinking about how much revenue they're leaving on the table, because Warner Brothers makes the thing and they put it on HBO Max. They're taking money out of their right pocket and they're putting it in their left-hand pocket. They're not making a profit.
There's basically tax write-off.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah. But that's why the studios are in so much trouble right now, and why a lot of companies are now looking at, Ben Silverman has got a new company called Prototype that's looking to invest in YouTubers, people like Mr. Beast and online creators as the next Hollywood. That's coming. Online advertising. Those dollars, that revenue from advertising online in YouTube has now surpassed broadcast advertising revenue. These people are starting to put more money on the thing. And then we just got a story today. Disney and Amazon are partnering up for an advertisement, for an advertising exchange. So if I want to buy commercials, if I want to buy commercial time on ESPN or Hulu or Amazon Prime, I'm going to go to this one hub that's going to handle it all. And it's Disney and Amazon working together. They're bundling their advertising avails, what we call in the business. So we're going to make this commercial time available for you to buy, Mr. Advertiser. And it's not just the Disney properties, it's Disney and Amazon. And they're doing it in the UK too. Sky, ITV, and a couple of others are putting together this thing. So it's almost like this clearinghouse for advertisers, because they got to compete with the online stuff, and streaming doesn't make any money.
Yeah, then you're 100% right about no. But that actually brings me to my last point that I want to make before we wrap up, because this just like blew my mind. I don't know if you saw an article recently that I guess Pixar's next film is going to be basically about a black cat that lives in Venice. And they had this shot where the cat was near the water. And I'm just like, this looks a lot like a little movie that won an Oscar called Flow. And do you know what's remarkable about Flow? That whole movie was made on freeware, a program called Blender.
Oh, that's right.
And they rendered the whole entire movie on it. It looks like one big impressionist animated film, and kind of reminds me of Studio Ghibli mixed with what Pixar used to be. you know. And the producer was talking about, yeah, we didn't have a huge budget. So we found this software that we could use and we could change and we could put our storyboards and do all this stuff in real time. So the barrier to entry for someone to get into entertainment is vastly lowered these days. And especially where people are going online to consume entertainment. Most people now, if you buy TV, it's just like, okay, does it have a widget for, it's a smart TV? Just can I watch YouTube or Hulu or whatever it is that I want to watch? It's no longer broadcast television. So yeah, things are definitely shifting. It's a very interesting time. When I think of as a kid, yeah, get up, you got what, maybe if you're lucky, 3 local channels, and if your parents could afford for you to have cable, to now it's just like, what's on streaming? I don't have to watch.
I was the remote. I had to change the TV.
That's all right.
Did you have to do it with a pair of pliers because the knob
A
popped
screwdriver.
Aluminum foil on the rabbit
A
ears.
screwdriver because my stepfather threw his shoe at the TV and broke the damn knob. I had to use a screwdriver to turn up at that geometer.
I'm tired of having to rip I don't know how many versions of the same album because the technology changed, from tape to, iPod to, MP4 to, okay, now I need data storage. Now I got streaming music. What the heck,
Well, and now we're circling back to vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Vinyl has made a comeback, and I expect VHS is probably going to do the same thing.
That would give me nightmares of VHS. Okay. Repairing VHS machines still gives me nightmares. I'm not getting into why.
Well, and that goes, and this is a completely different conversation we could have at another time, but that goes into this argument for physical media, because there are still people that are not aware that if you buy digital product, digital content, it can be changed without you knowing about it, without your consent.
Mm-hmm.
We had all of that stuff going on about the Ian Fleming James Bond books a while back, Goosebumps, Roald Dahl, Agatha Christie, all of these different estates where they were going to put out these new versions for a modern audience. I was interviewing Allie Walker today, and she's got a new book out, and she'd never even heard about it. I'm like, how do you not know? How did you miss this? Because there was a huge controversy online, but I think there's still an education process that needs to have. We need to continue to teach people and educate people on the dangers of not having physical media, because this stuff can get changed and you never know it.
Mm-hmm. Case in point, when we did watch party for Lilo and Stitch, the animated one, on my channel, like I have it in multiple incarnations, but just for fun, I decided to rip a copy from, we saw it on Disney Plus. And without fail, when that scene came up where Lilo supposedly comes out of the dryer and they turned it into a pizza box, we were all like, what the heck is this nonsense that they had? And the only reason we knew about it is because we've seen it on physical media and had it. So we knew, we're like, that's a stupid, a stupid thing to do. But yeah, they're going to do that. So that's why importance of physical media. So let's see, folks, we are going to roll on out here. It has been an amazing, amazing show. And I'm so thankful that Jason had the time to grace our presence here on the show. Please do let people know where people can find you and what you have going on.
Well, SciFi4Me TV, SciFi4Me.com is where we'll have reviews, news items, commentary, think pieces. I've got a couple of reviews over there now that we just posted. One is How to Train Your Dragon. The other one is a movie called Killing Mary Sue, which is an action comedy that just came out last week. It's pretty funny. Today, I mentioned today I interviewed Allie Walker, who was the star of Profiler. She was on Sons of Anarchy. She's got a new book that she just published a couple of weeks ago. It is a metaphysical thriller. So we talked about that. And tomorrow on the program, we're talking to Robert Conley, who's a game designer. He does RPG stuff. He's got a new sandbox module that he's got crowdfunding over on Kickstarter right now. And then Rob Crucy, who is an author and the co-founder of BasedCon, which is an anti-woke, non-woke Comic-Con that's coming up in September. He's going to be on the program on Thursday. So we run generally Monday through Friday on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, X at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday nights, we're doing a Babylon 5 rewatch. We start with season 2 tomorrow night, 10 p.m. over on Sci-Fi Snobs channel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we're on all the socials. I know Tom posted a bunch of stuff there, but yeah, we're on way too many social media platforms. But it was just like, we'd better grab them now before somebody else sits on them. So yeah, we're on something like 10 of them or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
I think I'm getting up there. Somebody told me about Kick, and I'm like,
we've been doing Kick, and I just started it again after a long while away. I haven't seen any result. Kick's more for gamers more than it is anybody else, I think.
yeah, that's why.
It's
Because I was like, for my gaming stream, it's like, I might plug into Kick because Twitch is deader than Elvis. I don't want to go over there for that. But yeah, folks, please do follow Jason on X. He's got great stuff, all the socials. But I'm hooked on X. They're gonna have to perp walk me off of that app. So I follow him and all his stuff. But first of all, Mary White, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You know what? I'm going to hit you with a special super chat for that $10 super chat. There.
Remember, traditions are basically just dead people peer pressuring you. Until we meet again.
Says, gotta show this channel some love too. Sorry, I've been absent. It's hard to catch all the streams live, but no worries, my dear. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it so very much. Hey, you drop in when you can drop in. So thank you, Mary. I appreciate it, my dear. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, did we lose Jason?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know what happened. He's dropped.
He said something.
Okay. Dang it. Freaking StreamYard. Okay. There he goes. I think I heard a beep. We'll see if he gets back in. Erica, what you got going on? Let the folks know about where you're gonna be.
Nothing. I did a podcast with Sam, Life of a Military Wife, on Monday. So I don't know when that's going to drop, but we talked about how we celebrate the armed forces birthdays. So how they're celebrated, traditionally, and talked about the Army's 250th birthday. And yeah, it was a really cool conversation. Had a lot of fun. Dove into like military life, and just a lot of military culture. So yeah, so be on the lookout for her channel when that drops.
All right. Well, folks, make sure you check out Erica's channel. Also, make sure you check out Sam's channel as well, which actually just reminded me of something that I was gonna show. So I need to do that before I forget. There's Jason.
I don't know what it is. StreamYard kicks me off, and I think when you hit the playback on that video clip, poof, gone. I don't know what happened. But this is not the first time that's happened to me, that I lose connection like that. I don't know. It's just recent too. I think it's a bug in StreamYard.
StreamYard has so many. As someone who works in IT, I could do a just shade session for hours about all the stuff that's wrong with StreamYard and why they won't flip and fix it. it's just so
StreamYard's
just
bad. EV is bad. I use OBS and I generally don't have a problem, but yeah, everybody's either using StreamYard or EV and they're both buggy as all get out.
yeah, it's just like I have all my stuff. If I'm gonna leave StreamYard, it would be for OBS. Not that I would have a problem using, but it's just a pain in the butt getting back into that particular mode about how to use OBS. So my sister's in the chat. Hey, with the hearts. Oh, take the little monsters, especially the boy little monster, to see the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. He will not move for 90 minutes. I'm not kidding. Yep. Y'all saw the Minecraft movie. So you have to take him to go see. Well, my nephew's obsessed with Minecraft. As a matter of fact, when I told him I was gaming on my channel, he's like, "Oh, you gonna play Minecraft like Preston?" I'm like, "Who the heck is Preston? How do you know Preston?" Oh, so good to see you. Good to see you. I'd like to pick your brain on how to make StreamYard behave. Threaten to cancel him. That's one of them.
Just switch to OBS because OBS has a plugin because it's all open source. But OBS has a plugin that will let you go to multiple destinations. I can stream to as many destinations. I have gone to as many as 7 different channels all at once through OBS. StreamYard, you can't do that unless you pay for it a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
OBS has got some really good tools.
It does. I usually, when I remember to fire it up, as a matter of fact, I have to install OBS on this computer. I don't know if I did or not, but I used to use it for scenes to go out. And then when I would have like a watch party, I had like a script that would actually like count the time up. So the scripts were great. It's like, oh, I got to sit down and actually do it. Okay, so last thing I'm going to show before we roll out, because I didn't think about this until Sam posted about her channel, and Erica talked about the podcast. Before this gets ripped off of X, I'm going to play this. This is obviously AI, but I freaking love this. So y'all going to have to watch it too.
Happy birthday to our military.
Says I love it. I need a link to that.
Awesome.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's on X. You know what? I'm gonna drop the link in our private chat on X, and Erica can send it to you. That I saw this. I'm like, okay, I got to play that near the end of the stream where the advertisers don't care. It gets clipped. No one's gonna flip it in. So yeah, I got to catch some more of the parade. It was just flipping. It was awesome. Tom, what you got going on? Let's talk about
swinging the blue wrench everywhere, this silly thing, and I'm gonna start doing some more stuff with my channel. I just haven't really, got around to it yet. But I'm crashing your streams, so I'm loving that. Maybe I'll invade other people's.
You want a big laugh? Go back and watch the Welcome to Florida show we did on Sunday.
Oh,
All
that
I'm
was
gonna
fun.
say is Sheriff Ivy is a darn. He went viral.
Graveyard Dead.
We will shoot you graveyard dead. Gotta check that out. But yeah, that's a link to Tom's channel. As for myself, let's see. Tomorrow, I'm pretty much off. There isn't a Dark Council show, so I will be seeing folks again. I believe on Friday. I think, yeah, Friday, 8:30 p.m. No, 7. Playing Stellar Blade. So you can come see me die a lot in fabulous outfits.
And you got a big thing coming up on the weekend.
I do. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, in Central Florida show. We are going to have my 5-year YouTube anniversary. Just a chill stream for a couple hours. Bringing on all my friends, and we're just doing stuff that friends do. Looking at just weird stuff and commenting on it. And just having a blast. So I can't believe I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I never thought I'd be here. So thanks to YouTube, my nieces and nephews think I'm cool when I tell them I'm on YouTube, and I will be out in the parks and, oh, are you making content? Oh, wow, really? You're a content creator? So yeah, stuff like that. So that's going to be on Sunday. It's going to be fun. So please make sure you guys drop in for that particular stream. So folks, it has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I want to thank Jason for being on the show with us today. Would love to have him back whenever his schedule allows to try to drop back in. He's got some great insight. Love having that here. Thanks, Erica and Tom, for hanging out here with us on the panel every week. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
All right, everyone. Let's tidy things up.
Autobots, start your engines!
Not under the rug.
We'll keep singing without fail, otherwise we'd spoil it.
Ready, Prime? Let's roll.
Hosing down the garbage pail and scrubbing up the toilet.
That's all, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.